Oh, Rue, you're such a good girl. You already ate dinner. What should I eat for dinner?
How about beef stew?
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Hey everyone, it's Molly. Today we're making an oven beef stew recipe. I will post a recipe for you guys down below in the video's description box so you'll have it, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm adding 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil to this pot, and I will be browning my meat and making the sauce in this pot. And I'm just going to start heating it up. Okay, so the recipe says to sprinkle flour over the meat cubes and then to reserve the rest of the flour. It doesn't say, I was going to do this in a bowl, but it didn't say to completely coat them. So I'm just gonna do what it says. And then my oil is heating up in my pot, and then we will transfer these into that pot and get them browned on all sides. And we'll continue on with the rest of the recipe. I'm just gonna kind of flip these over to get all the sides. I still have a lot of flour left over, and it's only a 1/4 cup of flour. So we'll see how much I have left over. Okay, my oil is hot, so I'm just gonna drop one of these cubes in to see if it's sizzling, and it is. So I'm just gonna start browning the meat in batches so I don't crowd the pan. Okay, I'm just going to set my browned meat off to the side so I can repeat it with the remaining meat, and we will get this done. And so the recipe does say eventually that you will add this meat along with the sauce in a casserole dish. I'm not going to use a casserole dish. My pot is an enamel covered cast iron pot that can go in the oven, so I'm just going to use this for the whole recipe rather than dirty more dishes. So, but you can use a casserole dish if you want to. Okay, so this is a controversial ingredient. It is MSG, and I have never used this before. I've never cooked with MSG before. So if you don't want to use it, I will look up some alternatives to it, and I will put them down below in the video's description box along with the recipe. So if you don't want to use MSG, I will see what else you can use, and I will suggest that there. But I'm going to follow the recipe and use MSG. It's apparently not as bad for you as people say it is, so we'll see. So it's MSG, salt, mustard, and then the rest of the flour. And I guess there's supposed to be more leftover oil than what I had, so I'm just kind of mixing this all up, and then I'm adding the tomato juice. I'm kind of nervous about the lack of spices in this. Normally, I don't really like beef stew anyways, but normally I would be adding a lot of spices to this and seasoning, and there really isn't that much in here. So it's kind of making me nervous. I hope this isn't bland, but maybe the MSG will take care of that for us. I don't know. But I'm going to add my meat to this and then throw this whole pot in the oven, and it cooks for an hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll add our vegetables. Okay, so the meat goes in, and then I'm adding carrots and onions to this dish, but you cook it with just the meat for an hour first, and then you pull it out, add the vegetables, and then it goes back in the oven. See you in an hour. All right, so it's been an hour. Let's take this out of the oven and see how it's looking. Okay, so I'm holding the camera with one hand. So in go the carrots, and in go the onions. There's a lot of onions. It called for 12 onions and 12 carrots. Seems like a lot, but I don't know. So this is what we've got. Need to put this camera down. Okay, much better. So let's talk about the onions. It called for 12 small white onions, and I didn't know if it meant pearl onions or what, because this is for small onions that you're seeing right here. I had Dan chop them up kind of weird. He sliced some and then chopped some. I don't know. But 12, I can't imagine 12 in here. That'd just be, they had to have meant pearl onions. I don't know. I like onion, Dan does too, so I'm just going with this. And then the carrots were supposed to be cut lengthwise, but I forgot to tell Dan that, and he just chunked them up, which is fine. And it smells pretty good, so I think I have high hopes for this. So it goes back in the oven, same temperature for 45 minutes, and then we're going to add frozen peas. I know you're excited about those frozen peas, so don't worry, time will pass quickly for you. Okay, so let's check the oven. And I'm going to add peas. The recipe calls for corn, but it says you can also substitute thawed frozen peas. So I'm using peas because that's what I have on hand. And in they go. See, there you go. Frozen peas. They're not quite thawed, but I think they'll be okay. And then this goes back in the oven covered for 15 minutes or until the vegetables are tender. So let's get this back in the oven and then we will test it. Alright, it's been 15 minutes and let's look at our stew. I've got a fork ready to stab the chunks, that sounds attractive, to stab the meat cubes with to see if it's tender. It should be. So here it is, and I will show you what it looks like. Keeping it in this pot was, I think, a good idea. I don't have to clean a casserole dish now. It looks good, and it smells good. So, does it taste good? Hopefully it's not bland. I'm testing everything, and yep, it feels tender, everything's nice and cooked. So let's get Dan in here to taste this. Is it bland?
It is. It could definitely use some kind of spices, but it is good. It's just not what we're used to.
See, why were they so afraid of spices in the 50s?
You should give it a shot. Here, I'll switch you.
Okay.
And then
I'm just going to taste some of the broth.
it's black.
It's black?
Go.
There's a red dot there?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now you tell me what you think, Molly.
Could definitely use some seasoning. Definitely use some like rosemary, I don't know, thyme. I think some pepper. I forgot to buy pepper, so I have this little thing.
It's out of my lunchbox.
Some, like a lot of pepper, and I'm just fixing it.
Salt. Definitely some salt.
Worcestershire sauce.
Whoa, you're going crazy.
Well, there is salt in here, but hey, you know, I don't know if it's too late to add spices. I mean, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a nice, simple beef stew. It's actually really good. But it needs some spices. So just whatever your favorite spices are that you think would go well in this, just add them. Alright, let's see if I fixed it. And now.
Better?
Better. Yeah. So simple. What do you think, Dan?
I think it'll taste better once I try it now, but...
Yeah. Well, this recipe, let me grab the book. Hand this way. Comes from the Good Housekeeping Cook Book, which is from... oh God. 1955. So, yeah, it's a 50s recipe, so... I guess they were kind of afraid of spices back then. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's a good basic beef stew recipe that you can make your own.
It does taste good. It just needs more spice.
Yeah, it just needs more spice.
So.
Alright, so if you guys want to see more recipes like this, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.